For my money, it's one of the all-time great adventures. Awesome, in fact. 2 young Aussies against nature, against the elements. 2 months in a tiny kayak battling the wild and unpredictable Tasman. An epic journey that made history. Remember the jubilant scenes when Justin Jones and James Castrission finally made it? Well, that's just part of their story. Remarkably, the boys captured every heart-stopping moment on video. All their fear, their tears, and the tantrums. Not to mention sharks, storms, hunger, and seasickness. All that and 2 hugely likeable young heroes make this story totally unforgettable. 1,000 kilometres from land, in the grip of a ferocious Tasman storm. Exhausted, seasick, and frightened.
I'm so f***ing pissed off with ourselves.
What did that mean?
From 10-metre seas to 4-metre sharks.
You can hear them rubbing their bodies up against the kayak.
Aussie adventurers James Castrission and Justin Jones weathered everything the Tasman could throw at them on this epic journey. Finally, after 62 days, they staggered ashore heroes, the first ever to kayak from Australia to New Zealand.
Never in our wildest dreams did we ever think it was going to be like it was. The emotion that just overwhelmed us was incredible, and we'll never ever forget that moment.
It all began on November 13 last year. 24-year-old Justin and 25-year-old James set off from Foster on the north coast of New South Wales.
The land's a fair way away, isn't it?
What land?
You can't see the land.
What land? See ya!
Ahead lay 2,200 kilometres of treacherous Tasman Sea. Unforgiving, unpredictable, and for the unprepared, deadly. But the first days of the journey were deceptively plain sailing.
The weather was how we expected it. The current was doing exactly what we wanted. Everything was fine. We're thinking, oh, we're going to be there in 25 days.
Hey, Jason! You want to go for a paddle?
Yeah, okay.
Where you want to go for a paddle to?
New Zealand?
Hey, why don't we go and paddle to New Zealand?
Let's paddle New Zealand.
Woo-hoo!
Their new home was an ungainly craft they christened Lot 41. Bobbing on the high seas, James and Justin entrusted their lives to this tiny vessel. Their only connection to the outside world, a single satellite link.
And straight line distance to finish, just over 1,100 kilometres.
And the boys will spend a lot of that voyage in a cabin not much bigger than a broom closet.
How was it out there, brother?
Yeah, pretty powerful.
Haven't got much before I hit my head on the roof. So this is the view I see. Ouch. Here's my legs. Sometimes put up like this.
This would be a sardine tin for anyone, but can you believe it? Justin suffers from claustrophobia. You did suffer panic attacks out there.
Yeah, a couple of times I had to sort of go, I want to get out of this car, I'm going to get out in the cockpit now. And we're in some big waves and storms and heavy conditions, and just trying to make yourself think rationally. Sit up, you get so agitated. Oh, well, I'm getting agitated thinking about it. And
Me too. I'm getting agitated listening to it.
It's just realising that, well, out there it's going to be worse than it is in here.
A claustrophobic seaman is one thing, but even more insane, James has always suffered chronic seasickness. It took an extreme concoction of drugs and alternative therapies just to keep James functioning.
Keep breathing.
All the while battling the dangers of dehydration and malnutrition.
We're getting smashed at the moment.
There were days when you must have thought, why did I do this?
Yeah.
Sick as a dog, James could paddle, but that's about it. Justin had to shoulder the bulk of the work on board. And as the natural leader of the two, that drove James nuts.
I really like being the stronger one, fitter one, the harder one, the one leading. And at the moment I'm feeling like a whiny little bitch.
Lot 41 was no place for shy and retiring types. The only wash to be had was out of a bucket.
Every night, the areas that, we've got to protect. Armpits, groin, face, butt in particular.
All I'll say, it's difficult getting from one end of the cabin to the other end of the cabin and swapping positions in a storm. Let's just say that.
You saw a lot of each other, clearly.
Yeah.
But 40 days out, such domestic concerns were swept away. The boys were hammered by furious headwinds and giant seas.
We have been completely smashed at the moment. You saw that amount of water that came in off us, so.
Suddenly, they were face to face with their greatest threat and their biggest challenge.
I guess you could call this rain on the Tasman.
Lot 41 was built to withstand the Tasman at its worst,
Saw two waves come along that were about 9 or 10 metres high, and I was shitting myself. I was like, if one of these guys break.
but just imagine what it's like riding out this storm in this boat.
That is the worst bit of fucking seamanship I've ever seen in my life. I cannot believe we just did that. We're fucking idiots.
And you did feel scared.
Definitely. I mean, there were times out there then we just sort of, you couldn't see an end to it. And it was tough. It's really tough.
But James and Justin always knew their lives would be on the line.
This is what a gale looks like from near the centre of a lake.
Their friend, solo kayaker Andrew Macaulay, had set out nearly 12 months before. Painfully close, within sight of New Zealand, he disappeared.
We know what happened to him, and we kind of know what he went through, and yeah, it's scary to think that you're so close yet so far.
Andrew's disappearance, it blew us away. There hasn't been a day since that we haven't thought about it, and there hasn't been a day out there that I don't think we didn't talk about it.
So far, the boys had successfully ridden favourable currents and westerly winds. They were right on track. But halfway across, the tide turned and they found themselves going round in circles, trapped in a giant whirlpool.
We're in this eddy of currents that we've been in before. We've been in this period, this spot, this exact same spot pretty much, 6-7 days ago.
They were desperate, exhausted, and confused.
This is our position here. Our position there.
Yeah.
I actually thought our position was there.
Yesterday, didn't we look at the same map?
Possibly, I didn't really look at the map all too much last night, to tell the truth.
We had a choice. We could go to sleep like our bodies were telling us to, or we had to get out and paddle through the night. And I remember just as the sun coming up, I was nodding off, my head kept on falling down. I'd be paddling and my head would just fall down, my eyes would close, and I'd wake up when my hand hit onto the deck.
Infuriatingly, James and Justin had no choice but to paddle back toward Australia to break free of the whirlpool. The entire debacle had cost them 2 weeks.
We spent all day today regaining ground that we've lost, and we still haven't caught up to where we were.
Their planned 2,000 kilometre paddle was now shaping up to be more than 3,000 k's.
You're like, oh, just want this to be over. And you're like, it's kind of like, I want to go home. I want to go home.
They did everything in their power to speed up progress, including scrubbing barnacles off the hull.
This is pretty crazy stuff. The boat is filthy. Really, really filthy.
Remember, this is 1,000 k's from land, the ocean floor 4,000 metres below. And sure enough, a few hours later, James and Justin had company. Sharks.
Look at the size of that thing. Being stalked, man. Man, this is freaky. I tell you what they're doing. You can hear them rubbing their bodies up against the kayak and the rudder and the... Oh, this is really scary, Jay. What do you reckon?
Its head was right up next to the cabin door, and its tail fin was up right at the front of the kayak. And we're like, whoa, that's a big shark. That's a 4-metre shark.
Dusk, that's feeding time, you know that.
It proved that whole Jaws thing correct. It was right on feeding time.
Day 43.
All right, Christmas Day 2007! Woohoo!
But there's no holiday here.
We're ripping along. This is the best Christmas present ever.
Original hopes of celebrating in New Zealand with family were long gone. The only indulgence, a slice of homemade Christmas cake.
Oh, it's so good, so good.
They had to make the most of it. By now, the boys were down to half rations, just one meal a day. The strain was taking its toll on their bodies.
I'm just exhausted. I just want to sleep a little bit. And our bodies are just so hungry at the moment as well.
And a 10-year friendship was being put through the ringer.
Can I just f***ing do this video diary? Can I just f***ing do this video diary? We'll have this f***ing argument in a second. I want to f***ing do this video diary. Just f***ing let me. Just f***ing let me. Let me do this video diary, then ask you questions, okay?
One of the things that's really started to annoy me this trip is the fact that I feel as though you just can't take any criticism.
You are the alpha wolf. You automatically expect everything to go your way.
We go about things, and our approaches to life are, you'd probably almost say, polar opposites. We're so different, and over this whole journey I've become a lot more like Justin, and Justin's kind of become a lot more like me. Like, it's kind of...
That's why this partnership prevailed. And finally, after 60 days at sea, the prize was in sight.
When we saw New Zealand for this first time, it was like a rush just came through the whole body.
I've got no words to describe this. I really don't. I'm a bit stunned at the moment. And the funny thing is, I said this whole trip that I'd never cry, and just the sight of land has just, knocked that wall down, and I'm just... I feel like a happy little boy.
They were certainly happy when I caught up with them as the sun rose on their last day at sea.
Good morning.
Howdy.
How you going?
Not too bad, yourselves?
Not too bad.
Nice to see you.
Good to see you. You're so close, you could almost reach out and touch it.
Yeah, well, we woke up this morning, you're still 23 kilometres away, and you're like, all right, got a bit more paddling to do, but what's another day?
But this day would be like no other. After 2 months at sea with no company but each other, James and Justin paddled into New Plymouth on New Zealand's North Island, and a tumultuous welcome. friends, family, and lots of new fans.
Well done.
See? I still can do it.
Far from the roar of the crowd, reuniting with family, the emotions are raw and mixed.
I was so glad you could say that.
Good to see you, man.
These Aussie sons triumphed where their mums and dads all said it couldn't and shouldn't be done.
You literally tried to talk him out of it.
Mother tried very hard, I tried.
I'll quote you, Mum. You said, why does it have to be a kayaking adventure? Can't it be, an adventure in business? Or how about you have adventures in women? That's what you said, Mum. And I was like, oh, wow, okay. Wow.
All that's needed now is some sleep.
Would you like a strawberry, Joe?
Fresh food.
Whipped cream. You're kidding me. Oh, right in. I'm doing it.
And a bath.
It doesn't smell.
Give him a cuddle.
Smell.
Give him a cuddle, see how
You want to give me a hug? Yes!
You have to take it one step at a time, deal with the highs, deal with the lows, and just, it's determination. It's just plugging away. It's the plugging away that's going to win the day in the end.
You've just got to put up with so much heartache and so much disappointment, and really it's a hard, long road, but at the end of the day, it's bloody worth it. It's awesome.
Hello, I'm Tara Brown. Thanks for watching 60 Minutes Australia. Subscribe to our channel now for brand new stories and exclusive clips every week. And don't miss out on our extra minutes, segments and full episodes of 60 Minutes on 9now.com.au and the 9Now app.